guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Paige and this is my open book. In today's video, we're going to be doing my spring TBR video. So grab a drink and grab a snack because it's going to be a long one. And let's get into the books that I am in the mood to read this spring season. So if you're new to my channel, I do seasonal TBRs here instead of monthly TBRs. And part of that reason is I am a mood reader at heart, and even though I make TBR videos and even though I might put a post on Instagram of books I hope to read that month, it's all just speculation. I don't typically like sticking to a TBR. I feel like if someone tells me I have to read something, then I immediately don't want to read it. So I like to just pick up books that I am in the mood for. I do kind of like to plan a couple books ahead, but planning a whole month of reading is just overwhelming sometimes. So instead of giving myself a TBR that I have to stick to, I just like to do these videos every season to kind of refresh, what am I in the mood for? What sounds good right now? How can I kind of recirculate what's on my wish list just to kind of see things that I'm in the mood for in this particular season. So for example, summer vibes are usually vacation type books, right? And then fall is more so spooky, darker. Winter kind of continues the darkness trend, but I was also reading a lot of hockey romances in wintertime. So now that we're going into spring, let's talk about the kind of tropes I'm in the mood for. When I think of spring books, I think small town settings, kind of a more cozier, fluffier vibe. Maybe more rom-coms instead of dark romance, is usually what I'm in the mood for during this season. Just because I want something a little bit more lighthearted, happier, But I think spring is also a time of rebirth or second chances. So I also love a good second chance romance in the spring. I feel like it hits different. Yeah, I don't know. So it's going to be kind of a hodgepodge of things. Think of this as a menu, if you will, with some options to keep you busy over the next 3 months or so. This is more so for end of March, kind of going into May, I would say. Let's get into it. I guess we'll start with new releases that I know I'm going to want to read that are coming out in the spring season. So for example, some of these may not fit my spring mood per se, but I mainly put them on my spring TBR because I knew they were coming out in the spring. So first, we have Kristen Granada's new book that just came out. This is The Puck Pact. So this is hockey. So I feel like this will be a good one for me to kind of transition from winter to spring because I have still been enjoying reading hockey romances even though it's almost the end of March and it's not really winter anymore technically. But there's still some cold days where I live, so I feel like it counts, right? We have That First Flight by Jen McMahon. So this one is the third book in a series, so I really like the first two books. This is actually somebody that I followed on Instagram. She was a bookstagrammer, and then she became an author. So I've been kind of following her journey, so I like to read her new releases when they come out. Her books are really good if you haven't tried them yet. This one is a single mom romance, which I'm excited about. The Homewrecker by Sarah Kate. This is definitely darker, more taboo. So again, doesn't technically fit the spring vibe, but I really like the first book in this series, The Anti-Hero. So when I saw this one was coming out, I added it to my TBR immediately. This one, I think it's I don't know if it's a love triangle or if it's an MFM or an MMF. I don't really know, but it's I think it's two guys and a girl, and I think it's a married couple, and then they both sleep with this guy. But it's called The Homewrecker, so I don't think it's where they're sharing him. I don't know what to expect. I've been trying to kind of not look at a lot of the teasers because I really want to be surprised when I read it. So that's on there. The Love Contract by Sophie Lark. This kind of works out both ways because it's a new release from Sophie Lark, and it's also a more lighter read from her. She normally does darker, more taboo things, but this is supposed to be just a more of a rom-com for her, but it's a fake dating. So, and I think it's also a workplace setting. I've also really been wanting to read this series. So this first book is not new, but the second book in this series just came out. So I really want to read the first book and the new book this season. So this is Golden Hour by Chelsea Hart. This is part of her Porch Bitches series, and I follow her on Instagram as well. Same thing, I followed her because she was a bookstagrammer, but then I kind of like saw her like going through the process to become an author, and it was just really, you know, it was really cool to see her journey. And these books are right up my alley. So I'm from Florida, if you don't know, and I currently live in Virginia. So the South and the more like trailer park kind of setting like definitely appeals to you know, that setting. So I'm intrigued by this series for sure. Okay, what other new releases are on here? Oh, how could I forget this one? Wild River by Laura Pavlov, I think comes out in a week from when I'm filming this video, if I'm not mistaken. So if you saw my February wrap up, Loving Romeo, the first book in the series, was a 6-star read for me. I was obsessed, so I'm really excited for this to come out. This is in the same small town, but this one's like a hate to love situation where he's a lawyer. Like I said when I talked about Loving Romeo, this is like a small town series from Laura Pavlov, but I feel like it's like a little bit grittier, like kind of dark, but not really dark, you know what I mean? Wild Love by Elsie Silver comes out in the spring. King of Sloth by Anna Huang. Those are two like really anticipated releases. Well, I should say, they're authors that I really love. I think if these books were written by them, I don't think I would be as excited based on like the premise of them, but anyway. I also need to catch up on Megan Quinn's new book. She released The Reason I Married Him, and I haven't read that yet. Seeing Red by Bailey Hannah comes out in April. This is the second book in her Wells Ranch series. The first book was one of my favorite reads of last year, so I'm excited. This is a cowboy romance with a surprise baby. So not usually my favorite, but I have a feeling she's gonna do it well. I'm part of her ARC team, so she's been sending out like teasers to us, and it looks really good. So I'm pumped for that. So I think that should cover all the new releases that I haven't gotten my hands on yet. So I'm probably not going to go into too much detail about the rest of the books that are in my Kindle TBR. I will have it linked in the description if you want to see what other books are on here, because I have so many. Like there's probably like 60 books on this list, and I'm not going to sit here and go over every single one. But again, the vibes I'm going for, like small town, like cute rom-com, like fluffier reads, you know what I mean? I also have a lot of baseball romances on here because spring is like baseball season. So yeah, I'll have the full like Amazon wish list that I made for my spring TBR down below if you want to see like the other books that I have as options for like Kindle reads. Now we're gonna get into my physical TBR. I'm really trying to prioritize reading books off my physical TBR because of how many books I've been buying lately. Like, it's a problem. So I'm really trying to prioritize physical books more. So I picked a bunch of options because I think my problem with why I don't read my physical books is because I'm constantly updating my TBR on my Kindle app or like on my Amazon app on my phone. So I feel like whenever I want a new book to read, I just go to that instead of like having specific books on my shelves that I've already pulled to pick from, you know what I mean? So I really wanted to do that this spring. I picked physical books that I really wanted to give myself as options, so that way I wouldn't feel overwhelmed by all the books on my shelves, but then I'm still tackling physical books, so I'm not wasting my money. Okay, kind of on the same vein, I'm not wasting my money. I'm also trying to go to the library more because I don't need to purchase every single book I want to read. Like, let's be realistic. So I went to the library recently for the first time in my town, and they had some selections that really surprised me. So let's go through those first, because these are obviously ones I need to prioritize because they're due to be returned back in a few weeks. So first we have Chloe Lee's Better Hate Than Never. I never read anything by Chloe Lee's before, but I've been seeing her books recommended a lot. And I know she has that one series that's about like a whole group of brothers and sisters, but I guess I just don't want to start a whole other series right now. You know what I mean? So I feel like this one is better to be read as a standalone. There is another book that she wrote, I guess that's like kind of connected, but you can read this as a standalone, so I wanted to go with that. This is like a childhood enemies to friends to lovers, if I'm not mistaken, so I thought I would give this a shot. This one I've been seeing so many people talk about. This is You with the View by Jessica Joyce. So I guess this is one where she's trying to kind of like investigate a long lost love of her grandmother. So she's like posting on TikTok and stuff, and this guy realizes that she's talking about his grandfather. So they meet up and they realize that they actually knew each other in real life. So I think it's another like hate to love thing. So I don't know why I'm picking up so many hate to love books lately, because it's not usually my favorite. But I'm trying to branch out and not only read Friends to Lovers and Second Chance. So I figured that would be a good one. This I got from the YA section. I just thought this looked so cute and wholesome. This is called A Pho Love Story. It seems kind of like warring families. So I think it's like kind of a forbidden love in that aspect. But they're in high school. So I don't know. I haven't really seen any reviews. It's just this cover just spoke to me. And I just thought it looked really cute for spring. So I thought it'd be like a good like fluffy, like nice romance to read. Then I got The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren. Because I got True Love, or what's it called? True Love Experiment? Yeah, because I got that one. I know that this is like technically related to that book and this one came out first. So I was like, I should probably read this first just in case I don't want to miss anything. This is supposed to be like, there's like a dating app and she's kind of like the sciencey one of their relationship, I want to say. But it's like the creator of this dating app is going to test out to see like if the matchmaking works on her, is what I gathered. I don't know. Plus, I've been wanting to read more books by Christina Lauren because I really loved Love and Other Words by them, but I haven't read anything else by them, so we're gonna fix that. I also got 2 thrillers or like mysteries at my library. So they had these 2 by Rachel Hawkins. They had Reckless Girls and The Villa. I just thought these would be good to mix into my spring TBR, so I'm not reading just romance. I really want to like branch out more. What really drew me into this one is it's supposed to be kind of like a retelling of Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None, which is like my favorite Agatha Christie book ever. So I'm intrigued to see how this can take that and kind of like give it a modern twist. And I've heard good things. Plus, this one I figured I would also enjoy because the blurb says it's inspired by Fleetwood Mac, the Manson murders, and the infamous summer Percy and Mary Shelley spent with Lord Byron at a Lake Geneva castle, the birthplace of Frankenstein. Rachel Hawkins' The Villa invites you into its deadly legacy. I don't know how you're gonna combine all those things into one book. So I was like, I have to know. I have to know. Okay, now we're gonna get into the books that I own. So this one is Dear Life by Megan Quinn. This cover just is really intriguing to me. I guess it's about 2 couples. This is a very old Megan Quinn book. So I've never heard anyone talk about it. I have no idea what it's about. I just know it's about 2 couples that are in some kind of like, I think it's like a program about like facing grief or like some kind of like therapy group session type thing. So I don't know, but this is the 10-year anniversary edition. I just love this cover where they're in like a sunflower field. This definitely gives me spring vibes for sure. I have this on here. I have a feeling it's going to be a DNF and a book I can unhaul and maybe like resell because I've been seeing a lot of negative reviews of this book. It's supposed to be like a Peter Pan retelling by Jessa Hastings. So I wasn't a huge fan of Magnolia Parks, I gotta say. I don't know if it was because of her writing though, like, I don't know. So I wanted to give this one a chance because I figured it'd be a good way for me to see like, is it the author that's not for me or is it just like those characters that weren't for me? I don't know. So I figured I would pick this up. This cover is gorgeous and it definitely gives me spring vibes. But I've been seeing a lot of negative reviews, so I've been putting off reading it. But I just need to like give it a try. Even if I don't like it, at least then I know. And it's not taking up space on my shelf for no reason. Okay, this one doesn't exactly give spring vibes, but this is A Court of Wings and Ruin. I am trying to make my way through the ACOTAR series, so this is the next one I have to read. I don't know when I'm going to read this, but I have a feeling over the next 3 months, I'm probably going to want to pick it up at some point, so that's why I'm including it. And look, this is so intimidating. I'm sorry. Like, I'm excited to know what happens, but knowing how long this book is, it's like 700 pages, and why? So, I don't know. I have that on here. Then I have Girl Abroad by Elle Kennedy. I guess this is also a new release, isn't it? Didn't this just come out like in February or March maybe? But this is a new one from Elle Kennedy. I think it's a love triangle, and it's set in Europe, where she is going to like study abroad. And it's kind of like a New Girl situation where she thinks that she's just gonna have like regular roommates, or I think she even thinks it's gonna be women roommates, but then she shows up and she realizes that she's rooming with all guys. So yeah, I thought that this cover, I just love like the colors in it, and I love a good love triangle, so I thought this would be a good one for that. A lot of these you're going to notice have been in my recent book haul videos, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about them because I don't want to be too repetitive, and this video would be ages long. So this one is called A Shot in the Dark by Victoria Lee. This one is a sensual love story about art and passion, emotional and heart aching. So I have a feeling this is going to be like an emotional one, but again, I'm kind of like here for that. I like how spring is kind of like a awakening kind of season, so I really want to make sure I'm including like angsty emotional romances into my spring TBR as well. And this one has really good trans representation, I've heard, so I'm excited to check this out. Then we have The Breakup Tour. This is like a Taylor Swift inspired, but it's a second chance. So I'm not a Swiftie by any means, but I love this writer duo, Emily Wibberley and Austin Siebenbroka. I've read a couple other books by them that I fell in love with, so I really wanted to try this one out. Even though I'm not a Swiftie, it's a second chance romance, so it should still be up my alley. This is another YA. I thought this would be another good, like, fluffy, you know, kind of lighthearted, simple romance that I could enjoy in the spring season. This is The Do-Over. It takes place on Valentine's Day, and I think it's kind of like a Groundhog Day situation where she just, like, keeps waking up and it's, like, the same day over and over. I am intrigued. I haven't read anything by this author yet, but I know that this author has been, like, really killing it in the young adult romance genre lately, so I thought I'd give her a try. It's A Neighbor Favor by Christina Forrest. This is the book that comes before The Partner Plot, which just came out, so I wanted to catch up on her books. This has been on my TBR forever also, so I thought this would be a good time for me to read it because it is kind of more like fluffier rom-com from what I've heard, and that's what I'm in the mood for right now. I'm kind of trying to transition out of the dark romances for a little bit to give myself a break. This other one that I thought I would throw in just to kind of mix it up. This is The Once and Future Fling. This is a Wattpad novel, and I haven't seen anyone talk about this book. I don't even know if it's good, but the premise intrigued me because it's like a matchmaking service that takes place like through all decades of time. So it's like a time travel matchmaking agency. I don't know. And I like how there's like 3 guys that she's going to pick between and you don't know who she's going to end up with. So I think this will be a good way to give me something that's more like unpredictable. Delilah Green Doesn't Care. This is a sapphic romance that I've really been wanting to read for a while. And this cover just gives me spring, like with the colors. And on the back it has like flowers. I don't know. It just gives me spring. This is a clever and steamy queer romantic comedy about taking chances and accepting love. So again, this is giving me spring energy because it's like a rom-com. It just seems more like positive and like happy. You know what I mean? So we're adding that to the list. Another YA romance, Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. Again, fluffier, rom-com-y, but still like a little bit of depth. So I've heard amazing reviews. Like, even people who don't like Ali Hazelwood still love this book. So I haven't read anything by her yet, so I thought this would be a good one for me to start with because I feel like it's like guaranteed I'm gonna like it. Hopefully I don't jinx myself. Oh, this I've been wanting to read forever, but I was specifically saving it for spring because, come on. Is this not the most spring cover that has ever existed? This is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. So not only does the cover give the spring vibes, but I know this is also about like, well, it even says on the back, about hope and healing. And it's kind of like a fresh start for this married couple. It's a marriage in trouble romance. I think they've already been divorced though. And this is kind of like their fresh start. So I thought that would be a great way to bring in the spring season. Plus I really wanted to read more by this author. And this has been like so many people's favorite book of all time. So I have a good feeling about that. Lover and Loser by Tessa Bailey. I love a good Tessa Bailey when I'm in the mood for something fluffier or funny or like lighthearted. But I have a feeling this is going to be pretty emotional. This is A Marriage in Trouble. I really liked the first book in this series. That one was definitely very like rom-com fluffy. This one I think is a little bit more angsty, but I'm here for it. And I really want to continue this series because it's been on my shelf forever and I just never picked up the second book. I also already have the third book, so it will just work out if I'm able to get this knocked out. Then we have Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I also have Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez that I might also pick up. I'm not sure. I just really wanted to read something by her. A lot of people have been raving about her books, but I've never tried her before. And again, this is another one where so many people, when they read this, it was like their best book of the year. Super emotional, but at the same time, like a great rom-com. So yeah, I'm intrigued. Okay, next we have Becoming Calder by Mia Sheridan. So I've been really wanting to read more by Mia Sheridan because I really only read Archer's Voice, and that's like one of my favorite books of all time. So I've been wanting to read more, but I don't really know like what book to read next. But I think this is the next physical book that I have. I don't think I have any other, I don't have any other physical books by her, so I figured this might be a good one for me to start with. This one is definitely not fluffy or lighthearted. This is like about a cult, but this part is what kind of reminds me of spring energy. It says, the light of love has always found its way into even the darkest of places. So I like how this is kind of like hope, like new light coming out of a dark season. You know what I mean? I feel like it works. Then I realized it's been so long since I've read something by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and she's one of my favorite authors, and I really want to read her backlist. I think the reason why I stopped reading her books, because I was binging a few like back to back, but I think when I realized that she didn't have as many books as I thought she did, so I don't want to run out of books to read by her. But it has been a really long time since I've read something. Like I think since summer. So I think it's been 6 months since I've read something by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Maybe longer. So we're gonna fix that. This is called After I Do. I think this is another marriage in trouble. They are taking a year off of their marriage to like live separately to see like if it can help fix things in their marriage somehow. Yeah, 1 year apart and only one rule, they cannot contact each other. Aside from that, anything goes. Should be interesting. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for my spring TBR, kind of like overview of some of the options I'm giving myself just to keep me busy and to keep it fresh. So again, I will have my full ebook TBR linked down below just because I didn't want this video to be too long for you guys, but I hope you enjoyed it. Give this video a like. Leave a comment down below what's a book that you really want to read in the spring season, or even tell me like what kind of books are you in the mood for right now. If you're a mood reader like me, tell me what tropes or like settings or vibes are you in the mood for. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss my future videos. That way you'll see my wrap-ups and my reviews of these books as I read them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.